If someone spent 30 years loving your grandmother like a daughter, showing up, sitting with her, holding her hand through every hard season, and her own blood couldn't be bothered to visit more than twice a decade, who actually deserves the things she left behind? I gave my grandmother's brooch to a woman who shares exactly zero DNA with our family. And my relatives are calling it theft. So I need to know, am I wrong? Okay, back up a little. My grandmother's name was Vera. She was 83 when she passed, sharp until almost the very end, and she had this brooch, a little cluster of garnets set in gold, antique, nothing worth thousands but worth everything, if you know what I mean. It was her mother's before it was hers. She wore it to church, to weddings, to every occasion that mattered. I grew up watching her pin it to her coat collar every Sunday. Now our family. My mom is Vera's youngest daughter. Then there's my uncle Dale, Vera's son, lives 2 states over, calls on holidays if he remembers. And my Aunt Patris, who is a presence, loud opinions, strong feelings about appearances, absolutely convinced she is the emotional center of this family, even though she moved across the country 15 years ago and visited Vera maybe twice after that. And then there is Marlene. Marlene is not related to us. She was Vera's neighbor for 32 years. She started bringing over casseroles when Vera's hip got bad, stayed to watch game shows, and somewhere in there became the person Vera called when she was scared. When Vera's memory started slipping, Marlene drove her to every single doctor's appointment. She organized her medications. She sat with her through 2 hospitalizations. She was there consistently, in the way that actually costs something: time, energy, the willingness to show up even when it's inconvenient. I was close to Vera too. I'm the one who lived nearby, who visited every few weeks, who helped manage her affairs toward the end. Marlene and I, we knew each other. We both loved the same woman. That part is important. Vera did not leave a formal will. She kept saying she'd get to it and then she didn't. So when she passed, what was left of her belongings fell to the family to sort through. Mom, Dale, Patris, me, helping coordinate. The brooch came up immediately. Patris wanted it. She said, and I quote, "It's a family piece. It stays in the family." She said it on the phone, she said it in the group text, she said it at the kitchen table during the one day she actually flew in. Dale nodded along because Dale always nods along with whoever is speaking loudest. Here's the thing though. 2 days before Vera died, she was still lucid, still herself. She looked at me and she said, "Give the brooch to Marlene. She earned it." Those were close to her exact words. I remember because I wrote them down that night, that specific night, because something in her voice told me it mattered. I told Mom. Mom got quiet. She said, "That's complicated, sweetheart." I told Patris. Patris said, "She was medicated, that doesn't count." And Dale said, "Maybe we should just keep it in the family and do something nice for Marlene separately." Separately, like a fruit basket. I sat on it for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of group texts and phone calls and Patris sending me links to estate law articles as if a brooch worth maybe $400 was a real estate dispute. And then one afternoon I drove to Marlene's house, knocked on her door, and I gave it to her. I didn't tell anyone first, I just did it. Marlene cried, like, really cried. She held it and said she never expected anything, that she didn't do any of it for something in return. And I believed her completely, which made me feel like I'd absolutely made the right call. That feeling lasted about 6 hours, until Patris called. Patris did not yell. That would have been easier, honestly. She was cold. She said, "You took something that belonged to this family and you gave it to a stranger. You didn't have the right to do that unilaterally." None of us agreed. And when I told her what Vera said, what she told me directly, 2 days before she died, Patris said, "You have a note you wrote yourself. That's not documentation. That's a story you're telling." And okay, that part stings, because she's not entirely wrong that I'm the only witness to what Vera said. I know what I heard, but I can't prove it. I wrote it down, yes, but I wrote it down. There's no recording, no second person in the room, just me and a dying woman and what passed between us. Mom is caught in the middle. She told me quietly that she believes me, that it sounds like something Vera would say, but she also said, "You should have talked to everyone first. Even if they said no, you should have gone through the process." And that one I turn over a lot because she has a point. I made a unilateral call about something that wasn't solely mine to decide. I bypassed the people who also had a claim, even if I think their claim was weaker, even if I think they forfeited any moral standing by being absent. But here's the question I keep coming back to. If I had gone through the process, if I had raised it in the group chat and let Patris steamroll the conversation, would Vera's actual wish have had any chance at all? Or would I have watched something my grandmother clearly wanted get overruled by the people who showed up least? Patris is now saying she wants the brooch returned or she'll pursue legal options. I genuinely don't know if she has any standing to do that. Marlene knows the situation. She told me she'll give it back if that's what it comes to, that she doesn't want it to cause a rupture. Which somehow made me feel worse, not better. A few weeks later, Mom called. She'd found an old letter Vera wrote, not a will, just a letter, tucked in a book, where she mentioned Marlene by name and called her the most faithful person in my life. It didn't mention the brooch, but Mom read it to me over the phone and then went quiet and said, I think you might have done the right thing the wrong way. I think about that sentence constantly. So here's where I land, or where I can't land, really. My grandmother told me what she wanted. I carried it out. I bypassed my family to do it. The person who received it was genuinely the most devoted person in Vera's life, and the people protesting the loudest are the ones who weren't in the room for any of it. But I also made a call that wasn't only mine to make. I went around everyone. I didn't give the process a chance, even a broken one. And now there's a rift in an already fractured family. Marlene is caught in the middle of something she never asked for, and I'm sitting here wondering if doing the right thing the wrong way is still doing the right thing. So honestly, am I the problem here? Honestly though, what would you have done? Comment below.